What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link in the description box below. The media doesn't practice diversity. It was an article, and I passed it around a little bit, but I'm gonna speak on this one. Uh, I'm not even gonna put the link in the description box for the article because it's pretty much a given. Because I'll explain it. The media comes off as hypocrites because the media tells people they paints this they need to have diversity, and America is a diverse society, and you got the liberal versus conservative, which normally means uh, conservative basically is code word for white supremacy, white America, and liberal is everybody else who's against white supremacy. That's how it comes off. So what winds up happening is everybody wants to be so inclusive because when you got conservatives, it's it's white men, white women who are on the fence, who are opportunistically feminists, and then white women when it's convenient. It just depends. And liberals are everybody else. That's how it's supposed to be set up. People of other ethnicities, they just watch the game and whatever. But one of the things is, you know, the media would tell people who do these stories on affirmative action, but the media's hiring practices are no different than corporate America. The media say, talk about school admissions, but the media's mentorship program or intern program is probably no different than school admissions, you know. So when it comes to nepotism and racism and all that good stuff, the media is no different. To the point that when we look at journalism, it's bullshit. It's all lies, innuendo, and because of that, nobody respects the media. And for brothers like myself, this is part of the reason why a lot of us are on social media because we're given a different perspective of the media because we know the propaganda, and everybody else can see the propaganda anyways. They just conveniently use it to their advantage. You know, I'm so offended. That is so wrong. I'm so appalled. Let's just keep doing what we've been doing, Jim. It's pretty much the same thing. And if you notice, they're more black. They're, if when you notice how the media is set up, white people, then people who are pretending to be white, trying to fit into the white one drop rule, which people don't realize. I might do a video on that, the white one drop rule. And then the people who want to get close to white cultural appropriation as they can, even though you can tell they're not really white. And then you got normally black women, and then either effeminate or just how can I say this, non-threatening black men. Nobody, rarely heterosexual black men. Rarely. And it goes the same way when you see these interviews, when you see these perspectives that people put out. You're gonna have a certain people are gonna have a certain type of look, feel, and tone. Notice that um, heterosexual black men are usually relegated to sports talk. That's why ESPN and these other sports networks, even Fox Sports, is a lot of heterosexual black men talking sports, you know, but not necessarily politics, life, finance, because the media pushes the same narrative that certain people are unqualified, or certain people aren't smart enough, or certain people cannot represent something positive to throw off the propaganda narrative. So when you look at the media, what's the difference? You know, And you can tell there's no diversity by the way they frame these stories. The stories that they frame are framed differently along the lines of race and gender. And and I would say class, but not necessarily. It's just race and gender. And who the story and who's the race and gender of the villain in the story, and who's the race and gender of the hero in the story. You know, think about it. I mean, people made fun of Charles Ramsey, whether they be black or white, or Asian or Hispanic. That was he. That wasn't his. He was more of a villain and a joke than the guy who actually was raping the women. That's how you spin a story. You know, Eric Garner was the villain of the story. Trayvon Martin was the villain of the story. And the people pushing the stories on were acquiescing to, oh, we were just wholesome people. It's an accident in the middle of the night. You know, they got the story about the young boy, the young brother who hit the girl in Oklahoma. Really, in defense, I let her know you ain't gonna just be pushing and slapping me. But of course, the thing about a man not hitting a woman, I get that. But at the same time, they don't frame that story the same way they frame the stories of Josh Brown. They don't frame that story the same way they frame the story of what is the Evan Turner? I think that's his name. The young white rapists out here that are raping white girls. It's just he comes from a good family and good people. I don't believe this. There's always this mode of everybody. When you change things, the media presents it as the all-American boy and Lex Luthor's cousin who's the nephew of the devil. So when it comes to diversity, they're no different than the school system. They're no different than the justice system. They're no different than America's hiring practices. They're no different than pretty much every facet of American society. And to push that everybody else needs to fit in and needs to come along with the times is disingenuous. Not only is it disingenuous, a part of it is very beyond hypocritical. It's underhanded because those same people will mess around and attach their homosexual agenda to that diversity. They will attach their religion to that diversity. They will attach their sex, not sexuality, but their sex or gender to that. They will attach their region, whatever they can attach to it. They attach it for their own purposes, and their networks and bosses will help spin these arguments to make them look, what do you call that? Uh, to, to make other people feel empathetic to their stories. You see, even with the Standing Rock thing, you see people they're not even empathetic to that whole scenario. They don't even push that narrative in an empathetic manner. Nah, doesn't matter. You know, I think the standoff with the Bundys has got more attention than Standing Rock. This could be my opinion. You know, so as far as this is why other people, that's why you see more and more brothers on social media, like I said, because people are tired of that BS propaganda, uninformed, uninformative news. This is why a lot of um, news companies have to have cutbacks and they're going under because their credibility is shot with society, and their ability to push nonsense is turning people off. The news shouldn't be. There should be entertainment news, gossip, but real news. There is no real news. It's all entertainment, gossip, sprinkled in with some real news, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But that's my opinion on that. Peace.